Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2007 Pittsburgh Penguins Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Two very special people are being recognized, immortalized, if you will, for their unique and prolific contributions to the franchise. It's fitting that on a night when the great Paul Coffey is being inducted, we are also inducting a longtime member of the Penguins equipment staff, Mr. Frank Shuley, who passed away at the age of 82 last summer. The reason it's fitting is because Paul Coffey was a player who very much understood and appreciated the contributions of the trainers, equipment managers, and their staff. And the Penguins organization also recognizes such contributions by inducting men and women in the builders category. Mr. Shuley, or Frankie as he was called by the players, actually began working with the Pirates, Steelers, and Hornets in their locker rooms long before the Penguins ever existed. He worked with everyone from Paul Wainer to Jack Lambert to Tim Horton, Mario Lemieux, and Sidney Crosby. It all really started for Frankie when he was a bat boy for the Pittsburgh Pirates at Forbes Field at the age of 7. A native of Oakland, he never attended high school, became a clubhouse attendant for the Pirates as a teenager. Mr. Shuley served as a Marine rifleman in Okinawa in World War II. And he returned to the locker rooms in 1960, working tirelessly for both the Steelers and the Penguins until his health slowed him down last year. Mr. Shuley is the 6th member to be inducted in the Builders category and joins his longtime friend and former locker room assistant, A.T. Caggiano, in the Penguins Hall of Fame. Penguins CEO Ken Sawyer, President Dave Morehouse, and GM Ray Shiro are here to present a Hall of Fame memento to Mr. Shuley's son, Frank Jr., as well as his daughters, Rosella Shuley and Diane Plavchak. Paul Coffey came to Pittsburgh 20 years ago this week, on November 24th, 1987, as part of one of the biggest blockbuster trades in Penguins history. The Penguins had not made the playoffs since 1982, but they had built an impressive stable of prospects in the draft, and when Penguins general manager Eddie Johnston learned that Coffey was having contractual hassles in Edmonton, he began negotiations with Glenn Sather and pulled the trigger on the deal. It was a great day for hockey in Pittsburgh, and it changed the face of this franchise forever. Anyone in the arena for Paul Coffey's first game as a Penguin will never forget the first time he rushed the puck against the Quebec Nordiques. You could hear the oohs and ahs in this building and the buzz in the crowd, and he made one of his patented end-to-end rushes. It was breathtaking, and we all had to pinch ourselves. Paul Coffey made an indelible mark on the Penguins franchise in a relatively short period of time, a mark that is reflected most in those banners hanging right up there. The numbers that Paul Coffey put up are just the tip of the iceberg. He's the only defenseman in Penguins history to score more than 100 points in a season, and he did that twice. He's the only Penguins defenseman in Penguins history to rank in the club's all-time top 10 in points and assists, racking up 108 goals and a whopping 332 assists in 440 points in 331 games. This is a guy who actually scored 48 goals, still holds the record, most goals in a season, 48 by a defenseman in 85-86 with Edmonton. And far more than the numbers is the impact that Coffey's mere presence had on this hockey team. He had already won 3 Stanley Cups with the Oilers and a couple of Canada Cups, and he brought that Oilers swagger with him to Pittsburgh when the team was crying out for a winner to lead the way. Not that the young players here didn't have the winning attitude, but this guy was a proven winner, and he could walk the walk. Paul Coffey literally transformed this team overnight into a team that the hockey world took seriously. one that might someday win a Stanley Cup. And of course, Mario Lemieux had someone who he could collaborate with, another world-class player who was uniquely gifted with the ability to play like a fourth forward, a modern-day rover. Coffey is legendary for being particular about his skates. He wanted his blades almost flat so he would get better glide, and man, could he glide. He looked like a downhill skier blowing past pylons when he rushed the puck. As effortless a skater as the game has ever seen. He was the huge piece of the Penguins championship puzzle in 1991, and we all thank him for it. Let's watch a video now of Paul Coffey. Here's a special video presentation.
When Coffey came to Pittsburgh, he brought a fresh winning attitude. He brought another level of professionalism, but most of all, he was a pretty good hockey player. And he was a guy that could play with Mario. He was a defenseman, but majority of the time you saw him up on the rush in the offensive zone. So he was just a guy that we've never seen in the black and gold before that helped us get to the next level.
Junior Coffey back in the league scene right there. Has it. He shoots and scores. And he beat Tugman like a rented mule.
You know, when we got Paul Coffey, this guy with all these cups and rings and his speed and known as one of the top 5 defensemen in the National Hockey League, you know, it meant that we were making a push to win a Stanley Cup.
I would put him in the same breath as Bobby Orr, a guy that could offensively, as a defenseman, take over a hockey game because of his skill, because of his passing, and more specifically because of his skating.
He had blinding speed. I mean, he was a guy that you could just give the puck to. He could break through any kind of defense you wanted. I mean, speed kills. They always say that. Paul Coffey had that speed. He was flying down the right side.
He says, let me get off this aircraft carrier. Here he comes down the ice. Over the Bruins in, down the left side, shoots and scores. Absolutely phenomenal goal by the Doctor. Paul Coffey and the Penguins lead 4-1. Need we say more?